Resourceful Designer, episode 261, putting yourself out there with presentations.
Welcome to the Resourceful Designer Podcast, offering solutions to streamline your graphic and web design business so you can get back to designing. And now, your host. He's not a fan of croutons in salads. Mark Decote.
Yeah, it's not that I don't like croutons. It's just that I could take them or leave them. If given the choice, I'd prefer my salad without crunchy bread in them. Anyway, this week concludes my Bootstrap Advertising series, and I believe I've saved the best for last. Because not only does this method help you get much coveted exposure, but there's a very good chance it can lead to new clients actually hiring you. And be sure to stay tuned after that conversation when I'll share one of my new favorite tools for choosing colors for your next design project. And no, it's not another color palette website, but you'll have to stay tuned for that. But for now, putting yourself out there with presentations. The whole point of this Bootstrap Advertising series was to give you ideas you could use in order to gain exposure for your design business. As I've said in each episode so far of this series, people won't hire you if they don't know about you. Now, so far, I've covered bartering your services for exposure, promoting yourself on client projects, and getting free media exposure with press releases. But in my opinion, the method that trumps all of those is presentations. In my opinion, and it's my opinion because it's worked for me time after time, and that's making presentations is one of the best ways to not only get exposure, but to actually land new design work. Almost every time I make a presentation, I end up with at least one new client afterwards. Now, I'm not talking about design pitches or presenting to your clients. I'm talking about getting up in front of a group of people and presenting on a topic that is beneficial to them, and a topic that paints you as an expert when it comes to that area. Did I just lose you? I know that many designers are introverts, and the thought of getting up in front of a group of people sounds terrifying. However, if you can find it within yourself to conquer that fear, I can almost guarantee it will be worth it. So save your trepidations until after you hear me out. And who knows, I may just convert you. So why do I say presentations are the best way? Well, presentations are a great way to educate people on a part of the business industry that you are familiar with, and that's design. That may be branding or marketing or advertising or photography or online presence through websites or social media or any other aspect of design that the average business owner might find useful. Regardless of what aspect of design you decide to present, just the fact that you're presenting gives you credibility in the eyes of those watching. When you get in front of a group of entrepreneurs and talk to them about the importance of consistency with color and the fonts that they use, or anything like that, the fact that you are the one presenting to them, that you are educating them, that you are bestowing valuable knowledge that will help improve their business, that elevates the way they see you. Maybe they knew beforehand that you were a graphic designer, but once you present, you graduate to becoming an expert. And as an expert, you become someone they admire and look up to. And when it comes to hiring a designer, who do you think they'll consider? One of the many other designers in your area? Or the expert designer that they admire because you gave them valuable advice during a presentation? May sound strange, but it's true. Back in March of 2020, in fact, this was just a couple of days before the whole pandemic thing locked down North America, I was at a podcast conference in Orlando, Florida. Now, a few of us designers at the conference met up for an impromptu get-together in the hallway outside the conference rooms. We had found out that there was a bunch of graphic designers there, and we just decided to congregate into a certain area in the hallway and just talk about design and podcasts and that. And we had a very in-depth conversation on the impact that good design has on the success of a podcast. Now, as it is with any conference, several others, non-designers, migrated their way into our conversation, some listening, some actually speaking out, and most were curious as to how design could help their individual shows. Now, the other designers I was talking with were all very knowledgeable, and we actually had a great discussion, and it was obvious to anyone listening in that each one of us knew what we were talking about. Now, while we were talking, I happened to mention that I would be giving a presentation the following day on the importance of good podcast cover artwork. Well, when we were done and we decided to say bye and part ways, several of the podcasters who were listening to us stopped me to ask more questions. So I watched as the other designers all walked away unaccosted, while I had a small gathering around me. And it was obvious that these people chose me because I was a presenter at the conference. And I hadn't even presented yet. My presentation wasn't until the following day. But the fact that I was enough to elevate me above those other designers as far as these podcasters were concerned. All these designers, if they listened to the conversation, they knew that we all knew what we were talking about. But the conference had chosen me to present. Therefore, as far as these podcasters were concerned, I must be somebody worth listening to. That's the power of presenting. It elevates you in the eyes of those you talk to. And you know what? A couple of those people that I talked to in the hallway there, they actually hired me to help brand their podcasts. And of course, then I did the presentation the next day, and I had several more new clients come from that. It actually works. And that's why I suggest you should try presenting. Now, you may be thinking, well, that's easy for you, Mark. You started a podcast branding business, so it makes sense for you to present at a podcast conference. But I don't have a niche like you. Where am I supposed to present? Well, I'm glad you asked that question. You don't have to travel to big conferences with thousands of people in attendance. There are many, many opportunities for you to present around where you live. In fact, presenting close to home can be even more beneficial because you have the added bonus of word of mouth getting around afterwards. Some guy's talking to a friend and he says, "Oh, you're looking for a designer for your business? Well, I heard so-and-so present recently at such and such an event, and they really knew what they were talking about. You should give them a call." So local presentations really work. But where do you present? Well, some of the places you can are your local Chamber of Commerce. Chamber of Commerce often put on special events. I know that, I'm not sure if it's worldwide, but I know here in Canada, October is Small Business Month. So the Chamber of Commerce often puts on events and asks for speakers during that time. There's also trade shows and other things that the Chamber may be putting on that maybe they'll need people to talk at. There's also business associations. I know in my town here, we have a downtown business association. There's a waterfront business association. I think there's another retailer business association. So there's all sorts of these associations. Well, you can contact them and see if they would like you to present at their next gathering. There's business enterprise centers, and different municipalities may call these different things, but basically it's a part of the municipal government that helps small businesses get started and with advice and all sorts of stuff. Here we call it a business enterprise center. And they often have special groups like small business startups or for entrepreneurial help, and they'll put on special events, and they sometimes need speakers at those events. Our municipality puts on these things called luncheon talks, where once a month they'll have a special lunch. They'll pick a venue, although they haven't been doing that during the pandemic, but once things settle down again, every month they pick a different venue and people gather there for lunch while somebody gives them a presentation on some useful information. And don't forget your local library. The library will often put on different things, or they may just ask for people, or you can approach your library and ask if you could put on a special presentation, and the library should help promote it. And then there's networking groups. There are many networking groups around, all sorts of different ones. Some of them are local, some of them are national chains. And some of these groups, if they don't particularly have a designer or somebody with your expertise in the group, they may ask you to join the group. But if that's not feasible, you may say, well, I can present at the group, even though I'm not joining, as long as you're not stepping on toes of somebody else within the group that has that same capability of you. And then there's places like co-working spaces, those places where you just rent an office for whatever business you're doing. A lot of those co-working spaces try to do special events to help their renters. And most of them are business people, so they are a perfect group for you to present stuff to. And then there's schools. A lot of schools have special programs for entrepreneurs or for business or marketing. Well, these are a prime opportunity for you to go talk to people. These are people who are going to school who may one day start a business and they'll remember you, or just pass on your name to somebody else. If you look around, I'm sure you can find places or venues that would be happy for you to present. And don't just look for existing opportunities. Make them. As I said, approach your Chamber of Commerce. Ask them if they want to put on an event. Talk to your library. Talk to your business enterprise center and all of them. Ask them if you can put on a presentation. Most of them would be glad to help because you are helping the community in doing so, and they'll be happy to accommodate you. Well, that may sound all well and good, but what are you supposed to present at these things? That's another good question. Wow, you're really on the ball today. Well, the idea behind any good presentation is to keep it simple and keep it focused. What you present will be determined by, first of all, the time you have, whether you have 30 minutes to present or if you have 2 hours to present. And of course, it'll be determined by who you're presenting to. Are these established business owners or are these people in the middle of starting up a new business? In most cases, pick one small thing to talk about. The broader your presentation, the more confusing it will be. The more focused your presentation, the more memorable it will be. The idea is to give people 2 to 3 at the most takeaways, and that's it. You don't want to bombard them with so much information that when they leave, they don't know what to do. You want to give them 2 or 3. If you can get away with giving them 1 takeaway at the end, that's perfect. One thing they can leave the presentation and think, I have to do that, and it'll help my business. That's a presentation they'll remember. So instead of giving a presentation on how to brand your business, which, as you know, entails a lot of different things, give a presentation on maybe just choosing the right color palette, or maybe a presentation on how a landing page can help increase website conversions, or maybe on how to focus on benefits instead of features whenever you're working on your marketing, or maybe how to understand web analytics. Keep it to one topic. And of course, who you're talking to will help you decide on what exactly to present. If you're talking to, let's say, a group of retailers, you may want to talk about increasing sales by marketing with floor decals, how they can use floor decals to help direct people through the store or to advertise stuff. Or retailers may be interested on how different colors on a website may increase their online conversions. If you're talking to a group of new entrepreneurs, people, new startups and that, you may want to talk about how to choose visual assets to help build their brand. Or maybe the importance of creating visual assets that appeal to their target market and not just appeal to them as business owners. If you're talking to a mixed group of businesses, just, maybe your Chamber of Commerce and has people from all sorts of businesses there, you may want to talk about the importance of branding and social media. Or possibly how to identify your competition. That's actually a really good one. Many new businesses actually don't know how to identify their competition. So work it out and explain to them how there's primary competition, secondary competition, and tertiary competition. Really, the sky's the limit to the number of topics available to present. And if you find yourself unable to narrow down your topic because there's just so much you want to do, maybe consider doing a series of presentation. Whatever works. Maybe you want to put on a monthly presentation with your chamber and every month you cover a different topic. Or your local business enterprise center, if they've got a group of new entrepreneurs, you may want to do a series that takes place over a couple of weeks that'll instruct new business owners on how to grow their business through branding. As I said, in my opinion, presenting is one of the best ways to garner exposure for your business without spending anything. Not only that, but there's a really good chance that you pick up some work from it. These people you're presenting to will see you as an expert. And given the choice, they would much rather work with an expert than just an average designer. Now, over the years, I've made presentations at several Chamber of Commerce events, at starter business seminars put on by our local business enterprise center. I presented at a business series put on by our local library, at several local schools, at networking events. I've presented at trade shows, and of course at conferences and more. I love presenting, and almost every time I gained new clients within a couple of weeks because of these presentations. So if you are somebody that is afraid of getting up in front of people, I know there's not much I can do to help you get over that fear, but sometimes facing that fear is healthy and encouraging. And the more you do it, the better you'll get at it. When I first started presenting, I was nervous, I was afraid, but I got up there and I did it. And now I've got no problem. After doing it many, many times, I've got no problems getting in front of a crowd anymore. Now, it does help to start off small. Don't pick a national conference or anything like that for your first time. So start off small and work your way up. But the more you do it, the more comfortable you'll be. And the better you'll get at it. And the better you become, the more people will invite you to speak at their events. A lot of the events that I've spoken at were not me approaching them. It's they approached me because they knew I had presented at other places. And if you present well, more people will want you to present for them. And who knows? Maybe someday you'll actually get paid to do these presentations. Now, wouldn't that be nice? But until then, try to settle with the new work that comes your way from those presentations and the people you help. So presenting. I think it's worth looking into if you're not already doing it. It's a great way to build your business. That's it. This concludes the Bootstrap Advertising series. I really do hope you found this useful. The idea here is to get your name out there, to get as much exposure for your business as possible, and in this case, without spending anything doing it. You can do everything that I mentioned in these 4 episodes without spending a dime. And I know you can do it. I believe in you. Now, before I share this week's resource of the week, let me share a bit of what I've been up to. I started a website refresh for a client. This is one of the clients I mentioned last week. I started their website refresh this week. I also have 2 logo projects that are out for proofs with a client. One of them was a lot of fun. Didn't spend a whole lot of time on it, but a lot of fun, very nerdy things. So I enjoyed doing that one. I completed 3 podcast artworks and have 2 more in the works. And I was asked to design a business card for a local small business. Nothing special, just a quick business card. They didn't have one and they said they really should have one. So they asked me to put a business card together for them. So that was some of the fun stuff. Now, the not so fun is I placed an order for t-shirts and I messed up the order. My client actually, just about an hour before I started recording here, I got an email saying, "What happened to the artwork? I thought we had settled on the new artwork." And I looked it up, and what happened is the artwork-wise, the client had a t-shirt and it had 5 lines of text on it, and they wanted each line of text to have a check mark in front of it. Well, prior to that, when I initially designed it, what I had designed is one big check mark, like a box with a check mark in it, a big one, and then next to that box was the 5 lines of text. So it was one big box with a check mark. Well, they decided, no, I think we prefer get rid of that big box and just put a single box next to each line, so 5 boxes with 5 check marks. Well, when I sent the artwork off to the screen printer, I sent off the PDF and I sent the right one. I double checked, everything was perfect. I sent it off to them and that was it. Well, my screen printer sent me back an email and said they're having a little bit of a problem. Is there any way I could send them the AI file? And I said, yeah, no problem. So I grabbed the AI file, and without realizing it, I grabbed the previous version. I didn't grab the final version. I grabbed the previous version and I sent it off to the printer and never noticed. Even when the t-shirts came back and I looked at the t-shirts to see the screen printing, I looked at it and it says, wow, these look really good. And I even emailed my client, said, I just got the t-shirts. They look great. I'll drop them off. Well, I never even noticed that we had gone back to the previous version of the artwork. So anyways, I feel really bad about that. My client, this is a really long-standing client, great person. We have a great relationship, and they told me not to worry about it. It's not a big deal. There's no spelling mistakes or anything like that. It's just we didn't use the design they had approved, that we used the previous one that technically has nothing wrong with it. Actually, in my opinion, it was the design I preferred, so I'm okay with it myself, but I feel bad for the client. And I offered to refund them, and they said, no, there's no reason to do that. He says, the shirts are still usable. They're going to hand them out anyways. They just thought they'd question why the wrong artwork was used. So anyways, I do feel bad though. So that's a little bit of what I've been up to. As far as the Resourceful Designer community, we've got a few new members this week. It was nice to see some new people join the community, but unfortunately, one member did decide to leave. Things are happening in her life, and she decided that it was time to step back, but who knows, she may rejoin again in the future. I was really sorry to see her go, but sometimes there's more important things in life to do that need to be addressed other than being part of a community. But the rest of us are really eager to get to know the new members who joined this past week. As for the community itself, I've been implementing some of the changes from the questionnaire I sent to the members. I mentioned to you previously that I'd done that. And I think with some of the responses I've got, the community is getting even better because of it. And I can't tell you how many times I hear how grateful the members are for the community. As one of them put it, quote, I feel less isolated. I know that anytime I need it, I can talk to someone who not only understands what I'm doing and what I'm going through, but someone who genuinely cares, end quote. What more can I say? If you would like to be part of this amazing group, please visit resourcefuldesigner.com/community and join today. And now, as promised, the resource of the week. And this is a resource, actually, I was so excited and waiting and anticipating, and I finally got my hands on these. And what I'm talking about are Swatchos. That's SWATCHOS at swatchos.com. And I backed Swatchos about a year ago on a Kickstarter campaign, and my box just came in this week. And what these are is a deck of 130 cards to help you choose colors for your design projects. Each card has one color on the front and then 6 colors on the back. So the front is, let's say, the main color, and the back of the card shows darker and lighter versions of the front color. So 3 colors that are lighter than it and 3 colors that are darker. So in total, these cards have 903, according to the website, 903 colors in total. And when you combine the cards, it gives you millions of possible color combinations. Each color on the front and back of the cards have the CMYK value as well as the RGB hex code. So it's really easy to know exactly how to replicate the color. And because these are cards, it's like a deck of playing cards, and they're not in a book like a Pantone swatch book, it makes it really easy to mix and match. You can take out just the colors you want, and you can mix and match them, flip them over, try them out, and it makes it so easy to find that perfect color combination. And once you do find that combo, Swatchos has a downloadable swatch file that's compatible with all the Adobe Creative Cloud programs. So that means that whatever color, the swatch that you have, the piece of card here with the color on it, you can find the corresponding color in your software through the application, through the color palette, once you download the swatch files. And as I said, I've only had these a couple of days, but I've been fooling around with them, and I mentioned some logos that I did. They helped me pick colors for my logos because I went through and I said, do I want these 2 colors or these 2 colors together? And I ended up finding the perfect colors, and wow, I think I'm going to get a lot of use out of these. And the best thing is it's much, much cheaper than buying a Pantone book. Now, I don't know what the conversion is, but I'm looking at the website right now, and they're £32. So they are from the UK. They ship from the UK. So they're 32 pounds, and then they say they have free worldwide shipping. Now, I bought my deck through Kickstarter, but you can get yours by visiting swatchos.com. That's SWATCHOS.com. And there's a link at the top of the page. That website, swatchos.com, takes you to a website that says the Kickstarter campaign is over. But right near the top of the page, there's if you miss the campaign and you'd like to buy some, there's a link there for you to purchase your own deck. So please take a look and support this Swatchos. And as I said, I can't wait. I've already used them on 2 logo projects. I haven't used them yet on a web project, but I do look forward to giving them a try. And I think they're going to be a great tool in my design arsenal. So that's this week's Resource of the Week, Swatchos at swatchos.com. So I want to thank you for tuning in and sticking around till the end. It really means a lot to me if you're still listening right now. Thank you for listening to this 4-part Bootstrap Advertising series. Please send me an email, feedback@resourcefuldesigner.com, and let me know if you gained anything, if you appreciated this, or if you learned anything, or just let me know that you're listening. I would love to hear from you. So now I have to figure out what I'm going to talk about next week, but I still have a few days to do that. But I'll be back with a new episode next Monday morning. Until then, I am Mark Decote, wishing you all the best with your design business and reminding you to stay creative.
Thanks for listening to the Resourceful Designer Podcast at resourcefuldesigner.com.